What's up, y'all? Welcome to testing as a part of our Introduction to the Tools of the Trade class. So today I'm going to be going over this class, the bank account class. If you notice, it has three methods here: deposit, withdraw, and display. And testing in Python is what I personally think is the most straightforward out of all the languages. What my favorite thing about Python is it's super simple, and the syntax is definitely readable. So what I've gone ahead and done here is I do have my bank account file that contains my bank account class. And in that same directory, that same folder, I have this bank account test file. I've gone ahead and imported two things here. First is that bank account file that has that class that I'll be looking for. And two is the unit test library. Unit test is what we will be building our testing out of. Okay, so what I've gone ahead and done here is I have made a class called bank account test that as a parameter takes the unit test module and finds the test case inside of it. My Visual Studio Code is really great, in which case you can see like all like the basic descriptions of these. Yours may not, it just comes with a bunch of different extensions that I've downloaded. So I've already pre-written this code to kind of make this tutorial a little more, a little faster and a little easier to run through. So if you look here, the way I set this up is inside my test class, I have different functions. The first function is test underscore the method I'm testing. In this case, it's deposit. And so inside, I'm just putting self because it's part of a class. And what I do inside this test is I go ahead and I make my instance of the bank account, okay? So all I'm doing right here is going like, hey, let me go look in that bank account module and then find this, this right here, which is just initializing the class. Then this part might be a little new. So what I'm doing is I'm doing self dot, and then I'm doing this right here, assert equal. So assert equal is something that you'll see really commonly in different testing cases. Essentially what it's saying is that first parameter, that first argument that you give it is going to be equal to that second argument you give it. So if you notice, I have s.deposit $10,000. S is our bank account. So if we go to our original code, let's look at the deposit function. We see that after you put in the amount, what we're going to go ahead and do is return this string that says amount deposited along with that amount. So in our case, it should be 10,000, which is exactly what we have here. So we're saying, hey, if we have deposited 10,000, we expect to get this string amount deposited 10,000 right back. And you can kind of use this structure for, other functions in the same class. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and look at test withdrawal. Something that I want to mention here is this is not complete testing. This is just to show you a basic example of how to test. And in the real world, you do need to make sure you're watching edge cases and anything that might be a little bit out of the blue. So now you can kind of draw the parallels between my test deposit and my test withdraw. So on line 11, I'm still creating that new bank account. I'm initializing that bank account instance. And then on line 12, I'm going to go ahead and assert equal s.withdraw 50,000. And that should say, if we go back here, you withdrew, and then the string amount, which will be 50,000. So this right here should return this. Okay, that is my test. I'm saying, hey, you passed the test if what I put in here, this function, matches this expected string. Okay, and the last thing that we're gonna go ahead and test is this test display right here. You can also put in test, more than one test inside one function. I just did it to make it simple, but you can. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've deposited $50,000, okay? And then I've withdrawn $10,000. So now if I go ahead and check s.display, 50,000 minus 10,000, that is 40,000, I hope, unless I can't do math. And so that means that when I go back to look at display, it's going to say your available balance is the balance. So if I've gone ahead and put in $50,000, I've taken out $10,000, I should have $40,000 right here. And if y'all aren't familiar with the class format inside Python, I know that at least UVA classes don't go over object-oriented programming in Python. You just want to include this right here to make sure that it's going to go ahead and run the testing. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to press play right here. So, okay, so this is my earlier testing, but this right here is the most recent. So something you'll probably notice, it says instance created of the bank account machine. That is just because that's in the initializer right here, the constructor. And it's also going to say ran blank test in this amount of time. So these tests are really simple. So it ran 3 tests in 0.000 seconds, which means it's super fast. It says, okay, that means there are no problems. All my tests passed and I am A-okay. So now let's go ahead and see what happens if I maybe make something wrong. Say for the test display, I deposit $50,000 and I withdraw $10,000, but I'm a little greedy with my money, so I wanted to save $50,000. I'm like, maybe if I test, let's see, perhaps maybe there's a bug and I get $50,000. Like that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this again. I'm gonna run this again and you're gonna see that same 3 instance created of bank account machine. That's pretty normal. And then we're gonna see right here, fail test display. This is really easy to read because it's only 1 error message. But if for some reason you're like, there's so many errors, like I don't know where to start, I just need to see how many failures there are, you can go ahead and go down here. You can see failed. So notice it does not say okay anymore. It just says fail and it tells you how many failures you have. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is look back up, look at the traceback. It says I failed test display. Okay, so now let's go ahead and read a little bit more. This is exactly the line where I failed, line 18, which is where I have an assertion error. So it's basically telling me like, hey, what you gave me on the left, what you fed in the function, the s.display, that is not the same as the string, the second thing you gave me, which was this string right here. So it's kind of just saying like, hey, like, I don't know what the bug is, but these 2 things that you said were supposed to be the same are not. And it kind of gives you a place on where to start. So as always, if you ever need help on anything, feel free to come to office hours. I will also, you can also review this file, and then I'll also have an older GitHub repo in the description. But as always, thank you for coming and watching our lectures, and we're so happy to be a part of your teaching staff this semester.